The top stories: Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed officially launches Halala Kella Resort as part of the Dine for Ethiopia initiative. And the Ethiopian Trade Unions Association underscores peace agreement is critical for employees. Greetings, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen. This is ETV News with the news. I'm Shfarao Lakau. Thank you for joining us. Now, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed calls upon the general public to work and exploit the geographical, historical and cultural resources across the country. The Halala Kella Resort, which is part of the Dine for Ethiopia initiative, has begun commencing services. Abtam Ashagri takes it from here.
Prime Minister Abiy officially launched Gabata Lager project in Gorgora, Koisha and Wonchi areas last year. As part of this move, the Halala Kella Koisha Resort launched and commences services. The Halala Kella Resort is located in Dauro Zone, southwestern Ethiopian region, and it has fulfilled international standard as well as to increase the number of tourism destinations. The Halala Kella Resort constructed based on the ancient and traditional values of Dauro people, and the construction brings vast construction experience.
Halala Kella የታሪክ የባህል እና ሰው ሰራሽና ተፈጥሮ ሀብቶች
Halala Kella Resort has historical, cultural and man-made natural resources. Before 2 years, except Dauro Stone Heritage, there was no any tourism destination in this area. Fortunately, imaginary mentalities and working hands realize one of the best resorts in this area. The construction of Halala Kella Resort is completed with a music class.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took the occasion to call upon Ethiopians to understand and to work together based on the environmental values of the nation.
Halala Kella እና አካባቢው ለብዙ ዘመናት ነበር። እኛ ቦታውን አልሰራነውም። ቦታውን ያየነው።
Halala Kella is located here for many years, so we are not creating this place. Rather, we see the place. Most of the time, we Ethiopians need to adjust our vision. But unfortunately, our vision departed from our nature and placed on wrong and disgracing deeds. If we are adjusting this problem, we can understand what kind of resources that we have.
Abiy underlined that the Halala Kella Resort is unique due to its location near the capital city.
አንደኛ በጣም ንጹህ የሆነ ከፍተኛ ፍሬሽ ውሃ አለ። በግድቡ ምክንያት በጣም ከፍተኛ የሆነ ውሃ አለ።
Firstly, this place has fresh and pure water due to the dam nearby. Secondly, this place has a decade-long stone heritage made by our forefathers. Thirdly, the place has eye-catching mountains. The place has unique weather conditions both in winter and summer seasons. The sun rises in the early morning is exceptional, and the same is true in sunset. This place can recreate an inner feeling of a person who lives in urban areas.
The Premier added Ethiopians need to work hand in hand to solidify the unity of the country by understanding the values of wisdom. Meanwhile, in connection with the recent conditions of the country, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed briefed the government is committed to restore law enforcement operation against anti-peace elements across the country. The Premier warns those foreign forces that are bent on amassing the internal matters of the country.
Now, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, Ambassador Burak Akçapar, will pay a working visit to Addis Ababa from May 1 to 4, 2023 to hold talks with the authorities of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the African Union. The statement indicates that during the meetings between Deputy Foreign Minister Ambassador Akçapar and the Ethiopian authorities, the repatriation of Turkish citizens in Sudan carried out through Ethiopia, bilateral relations of the two friendly nations, as well as regional developments will be discussed. Meanwhile, in the meetings with the African Union authorities, The decision taken at the third Turkey-Africa Partnership Summit and the progress in joint projects will be reviewed, it is disclosed. Welcome back. You're still watching Addis News Hour. Now, the International Workers' Day observed for the 134th time globally and 48th time in Ethiopia has been marked in multiple occasions across the country. Observing the occasion, Congress of Ethiopian Trade Unions stressed that Ethiopian Trade Unions Association strongly supports the peace agreement that enabled employees to work peacefully. Tigasanisa compiles the following story.
Millions of workers around the world, the 1st of May is their day.
May Day, also called Workers' Day or International Workers' Day, commemorating the historic struggles and gains made by workers and the labor observed in many countries on May 1st. The International Workers' Day, which is being celebrated for 134th time worldwide, in 48th time in Ethiopia, has been celebrated today in multiple occasions across the country. Observing the occasion, Kasaun Folo, president of Ethiopian Trade Unions, stressed that Ethiopian Trade Unions Association strongly supports peace agreements that enabled employees to work peacefully.
We strongly support the initiative taken by the federal government to reach the Pretoria peace settlement, and we would like it to be strengthened as well.
For the first time, Ethiopian Airlines has also observed the International Workers' Day or May Day, preparing a recognition program for its employees who excelled in their performance. On the occasion, Ethiopian Airlines Group Chief Executive Officer Mesfin Tassau stated that employees come together in unison for the same goal in the airline.
The Ethiopian Airlines is a place where, starting from senior up to junior employees, comes together in unison for the same goal, which is being productive as an end goal. The airlines are indeed all ours.
The CEO further explained that Ethiopian is working level-based in respecting and protecting their employees' rights.
Our company ensures safety of our employees as a priority and also meeting our employees' incentive demands as well. The airlines works level-based in respecting and protecting our employees' rights. which I never meant we are perfect. Rather, whenever we have issues, we like table them and find solutions to them as well. And I would say we will keep doing that too.
For Ethiopian Airlines to be more productive in the near future, Mesfin called on the entire employee to continue to work level-based in every aspect, as it has been the hard teamwork that helped the airline to be where it is now, he noted.
Now, delegations from Zambia, Niger, Tanzania and Cote d'Ivoire have visited wheat cluster farming activities in East Shore Zone in the Oromia region. The visit was accompanied by the Chief Administrator of Oromia Region State, Shimallis Abdissa, and other regional state officials. The tour is organized to exchange best practices and experiences of Ethiopia in transforming agriculture, particularly cluster farming and developments in wheat, avocado and coffee in Ethiopia. During its 4-day tour in Ethiopia, the delegation is also expected to visit various development activities in the region. Cluster farming is considered to be one of the ways by which the country will enhance structural productivity of the agricultural sector, promoting small-scale farmers adjacent to one another to work together and produce similar crops in large quantities. And now in business, investors who took part at the Invest Ethiopia 2023 International Forum said that Ethiopia has a better investment climate to attract foreign investment as the government has opened the economy to the private sector. The government of Ethiopia has already put everything in place for the private sector and for the investors to come in and invest without problems. Daniel Kassan takes it from here.
The investors who visited the Eastern Industrial Zone, located about 40 kilometers south of Addis Ababa, where over 130 companies are operating in the park, witnessed the infrastructure development undertaken by the government to attract investors. Somaliland-based Bello Capital CEO Ahmed Ali Mohammed told ENA that the Eastern Industrial Zone was very huge and he was impressed by the layout, the structure and the infrastructure in the park.
The beautiful thing about investing in Ethiopia is now we have attended Invest in Ethiopia forum for 3 days, and I have get so much knowledge and insight into the commitment and willingness of the Ethiopian government to open up the economy, and call private investors to give a priority for the first time to private sector to invest. If the Ethiopian economy opens up for private sector, it will provide so much opportunity for local investors, Horn of Africa investors, and the global investors, and so much opportunity for the young Ethiopians as well. So it's interesting times to be in Ethiopia.
He mentioned that the government is opening up banks, telecom, mining, ICT manufacturing for foreign investors. Representing Agrorist Global Manufacturing Private Limited Company from Sri Lanka, Wajira Dharmadasa said he visited Ethiopia for the first time and he has seen several infrastructure investments.
Before visiting this country, and we had a completely different mindset. And you investor forum and the content and everything, it completely changed our mindset. Now we see how good your country to attract new investment.
Ethiopia is a good destination for potential investors, he said. A representative of Mojo company from UK, Rosa Beba, on her part said they want to engage in agriculture sector and export quality products. Canadian and Indian investors who have been on business travel to Ethiopia also told ENA that they are keen to invest in the agriculture sector. The Canada-based BTE Limited Company Vice President Taza El Shafi told ENA that he is visiting Ethiopia for the first time and was glad that he attended the Invest Ethiopia 2023 Forum.
I see that had been growing throughout the years. It's one of the growing and the strongest in Africa, and it's well recognized all over the world. And like this event, it's a great evidence that it's attracting investors from all over the world. That's one of the things that when I will go back to Canada, I will speak with my colleagues, I will speak with the officials over there, and I'm not sure what's the presence of Canadian companies and Canadian government in Ethiopia, but I will need to investigate that, and if they don't have a strong presence here, then definitely I will be an advocate for Ethiopian government to encourage the Canadian to come here.
Agricultural sector is growing now. We can boost that development. There is a lot of chances to export products to Middle East and other countries. We also like to import pulses items from Ethiopia to India. There is a demand, a lot of demand is there.
Invest Ethiopia 2023 International Investment Forum here in Addis Ababa has been successfully concluded.
In another development, investors from the United Kingdom, UK and Turkey say they have recognized the huge investment potentials available in Ethiopia and that they will soon engage in the spheres of agriculture and energy sectors. Approached by ANA, British and Turkish investors said that the investment opportunity in Ethiopia is absolutely enormous, particularly in the agriculture and energy sector. Accordingly, foreign investors described Ethiopia's top of the African continent for foreign direct investment, FDI. They said the people of Ethiopia are some of the best people they have met around the world.
When I was younger, my father told me about a beautiful land on the edge of the African continent. A land by the ocean, with vast beaches and vibrant fishing traditions, with breathtaking mosques, with culture and color, and the kindest people you'll ever meet. My father's stories were not about Senegal, but when I visited for the first time, it was everything and more that I had ever imagined Somalia to be. When people ask me why I love Senegal, I say the answer is simple. It's the Somalia of my dreams. When you visit Lake Redba, you have to stop by Camping Le Nomade, a locally owned restaurant, hotel, and top-notch hangout spot. You can also rent quad bikes and book lake tours here.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Bon, moi, je m'appelle Suleiman Sow. Je suis né dans un village qui est à côté de Lagos qui s'appelle Niagapol. Donc, il y a quelques années, j'ai commencé à monter Camping Le Nomade et maintenant, c'est devenu comme ça. Pour tous les...
Welcome back. And finally, people across the globe commemorate Labor Day on May the 1st, also known as May Day. This day commemorates the struggle of workers for better wages and working conditions, and it is marked with parade, speeches, and celebrations nationwide. Shogai Matav has compiled the following story from different sources.
Every year, people across the world commemorate Labor Day on May 1st, also known as May Day. In the late 1800s, American workers faced 12-hour work days, 7 days a week under very difficult conditions. Eventually, labor unionists had had enough, and on May 1st, 1886, hundreds of thousands of people went on strike across the country, calling for 8-hour work days. 3 days later, a bomb went off in Chicago's Market Square, the city as the center of the unrest as tensions escalated between strikers and strikers strike breakers, killing 7 police officers and 4 civilians. The event only sparked a stronger push for workers' rights, but it wasn't until nearly a decade later that President cleverly signed into law Labor Day as a holiday in 1894. This day commemorates the struggle of workers for better wages and working conditions, and it is marked with parade speeches and celebrations nationwide. The aim of the holiday is to recognize workers' contribution to the development of the nation and to encourage them to work harder towards achieving greater progress. Chinese President Xi Jinping extended festive greetings and best wishes to the country's working people, which falls on May 1st annually. Xi called on the working people to foster an ethics of work, foster respect for model workers, and promote quality workmanship. He encouraged them to work diligently and boldly, engage in innovation to make solid progress in advancing Chinese modernization, and to play a leading role on the new journey to build China into a stronger country and realize national rejuvenation. Meanwhile, police fired tear gas in Paris and other cities as protesters turned out for May Day rallies across France on Monday amid anger over the passage of President Emmanuel Macron's unpopular pension reform. While May 1st is marked around the world as a celebration of labor rights, this year's rallies tapped into broader frustrations as populations squeezed by inflation and demanding economic justice took to the streets across Europe and Asia. French police have been approved to use drones equipped with cameras for crowd monitoring as the protesters. Rights groups filed a complaint against the move, saying the use of drones in this manner violates fundamental rights.
Well, the viewers, you have been watching at this news hour. Now, a quick recap of the top stories. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed officially launches Halala Kella Resort as part of Dine for Ethiopia initiative. And the Ethiopian Trade Unions Association underscores peace agreement is critical for employees. And with that, we come to the end of today's news. Thank you so much for watching.